welcome to our webinar today. Hope everyone's having a wonderful afternoon so far. Today we are going to be talking about 4 childcare CEO pitfalls to avoid. And this will be hosted by Tony D'Agostino, who is our founder and CEO. I am Nicole Farkas. I am the senior member advocate here at Inspire Care 360 and will be your MC for today. We are very excited to have our featured guest, Brandy Woods-Smith, who is the owner of Childcare Millionaires Association. She also owns many of her own centers and schools, so she is definitely a pro in this world. And we're super excited. We would love to also hear a little bit about where you're from. So feel free to put in the chat box who you are, where you're from, and welcome. So today's topic, we're super excited. We're going to be talking, Brandy's going to be talking about running a successful childcare business. And then also in the webinar, she's going to dive into some common mistakes that are made by childcare CEOs and provide tips on how to avoid them. So whether you're just starting out in the CC industry or you've been in the game for years, we hope that there's a little piece of this webinar that you are going to be able to pull out for you. Welcome, Martha from North Carolina. Nice to have you on board. Throughout the webinar, we will be sharing some, tips and tricks, and we love to have input from you guys. So please feel free in the chat to, ask questions, make comments. We love to keep things interactive. Gwen from Wonderland Montessori, what a great name for a school. Carlton, Texas, welcome. We're happy to have you on board. Also, we encourage the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. So if you do have questions that you would like to field to either Tony or Brandy, they are happy to answer your questions. Joining from Texas, hello, Jen. Let's see, we also have Sonia from San Antonio, welcome. Brenda from Chicago, the Windy City, if I can talk today. welcome aboard. So yes, I actually had the pleasure of meeting Brandy and talking with her for a while at a conference last year, and we just had a wonderful time. So I'm so excited that you guys get to hear a little bit about what she has to say and, take pieces of all of her information because she is definitely a wealth of knowledge. Jen from Cleveland, Ohio, Leslie from Nashville, Kim from Wichita, Kansas, welcome. We're excited to have you guys on board today. For those who are just joining, hi, Rachel from Florida. For those who are just joining, we are going to be starting shortly, but please feel free, let us know where you're from. Also throughout the webinar, we encourage you to, chat in the chat box as well as ask any questions that you may have for either Tony or for Brandy. As I mentioned in the beginning, my name is Nicole Farkas. I am the senior member advocate here at Inspire Care 360, and I will be your MC for the day. Here is just a little bit about what we're going to be going through. We're going to be doing some introductions, a little housekeeping, discussions. We also are really excited that we have a giveaway today. And also we're going to be talking a little bit about Inspire Care 360. Hi, Mary from Dearborn. Today, our webinar, you are able to receive CEU credits for our webinar. Sarah will be putting the link as to how to get that certificate in the chat throughout the webinar. So, definitely, and if you do not get that today or you forget to do it, there she goes, popping it right in the chat. Thank you, Sarah. Please feel free to reach out to me, email me. I'll put my email in the chat in a little bit. But you guys can email me as well, and I will make sure that you receive the certificate. Today, our host, as I mentioned earlier, is our founder and CEO of Inspire Care 360, Tony D'Agostino. We also here, as we say, we drink our own Kool-Aid. We own 3 centers here in Western New York. So we're excited also to learn a little bit about what Brandy has to say. And Tony's definitely got experience. I won't say how long, Tony, with talent and people and learning. We love to have him as our boss and our leader. And he founded IC360 basically to solve that back office challenge that so many in the ECE industries are challenged with. So Tony, I am going to pass the torch on to you.
Always so kind. You're always earning that extra $5 bonus. So thank you so much, Nicole. Wonderful. So thank you for your time. And yes, Nicole and myself had a chance to meet Brandy at Bounce, which we actually will be there with at Kangaroo Time coming this summer, I believe in July. So I'm not sure if she'll make it there again, but we will ask her too. But she has her own event coming up, and we're going to be talking about that in a moment. So I want to thank everybody. I know people are still coming on, but we're going to go ahead and get started with here. We're going to do, as usual, a few housekeeping things that helps us pay the bills. First off, though, is definitely a freebie. This is something ongoing that we've created, and if you've ever been part of our pop-up webinar series, you'll notice that we oftentimes roll out ebooks. These ebooks are things that we believe are very relevant. They're topical on what is going on in our industry, or ways that you can get some easy tips, tricks, ideas. And most recently, I wrote an ebook on building trust with staff. Trust is really probably one of the key words, because if you're able to develop trust with your team, it is probably the foundation that creates the secret sauce for your schools to be highly successful. When your team trusts you as a leader and you can trust your team, you have a great foundation to build that with your families, the trust, and the community. So looking at the underpinnings of what creates trust for the long term, not short term, not just handouts or giveaways, you're just pats on the back, but what does it really take to develop trust? How do you foster that super positive work environment? And how do you really look at what effective communication is? And when we talk about effective communication, it's not really one way. It's not just about how you possibly communicate to your team. It's also setting the stage for how your team can engage with you, and how not only your team, but your families can engage with you. So this is really about helping them get to a higher level of satisfaction, but also belonging. The reason staff stay and what reduces turnover is they feel like they're part of the fabric of your school. They feel like they belong. And that is really a foundation built on trust. So you can certainly increase the quality of your schools on that focus on communication, and really develop your reputation through building the trust. So you'll notice that a link will come to you from Sarah in the chat. If you want to download this book, and all it is a small little form, you put in your name, what have you, and you can download this ebook right away. So check that in the chat link. Look at that. I even preceded myself there. Next, I just want to make sure, for those who haven't been on here before and are interested in leadership development, something that Brandy is talking about today is really about how to develop leaders. We have talked about this in our previous one where we had Gigi on, but when it comes to leadership development, it's really moving away from that management mentality to a leader mentality. It's about empowerment of your team members instead of telling your team members what to do. But you can't just empower. If you do, things run a little haywire. So leadership is really about creating accountability. And it's really about how do you help your team start to solve the problems instead of you having to solve each one of the problems. So it is about building a coaching culture, reducing turnover, increasing recruitment, creating this great place to work. And it's also about working on your business as in it. So what this program is this is a 9-week session. We will be starting to recruit for a late summer program. And we have only 9 slots for this. It's a virtual 2-hour-a-week meeting. And we go through different scenarios. We learn the basics. We learn more than the fundamentals. We do a lot of role playing in there where sometimes you're like, I don't want to role play, but these are with peers, with other companies. And so it's really a fun time. You get to know some other people and really develop your capability of being a leader and being more of a coach as to a manager. So you're putting the carrot out there as to the stick. Next, I want to tell you about one of our programs we're very proud of. This is something that took us about 2 years to develop, but the program is called Peak Performance. What is Peak Performance? Well, Peak Performance is a program on how to help take your team on a journey from where they might not really be connected as part of your culture. They might lack expectations. They might lack cohesiveness. But most of your staffs and teams probably have a lot of the basics down. They have some of the expectations. They have some of the basic mentoring. They have some of the strong elements. Our objective is to get them to the far right side here, and that is for uniformed achievement where all of your teammates are working very close together. All of your teammates, from whether they were with you for 16 years, for 6 months, or 6 weeks, work like a well-oiled machine, I guess you would say. They're working very close together. They work together to really achieve your goals and objectives. And this is an automated performance, merit, and management environment that bolts onto our Inspire University. It also comes with our membership. But the program is wonderful because instead of you having to ask your staff members and chase after them to do training and do on-the-job tasks, this program manages it 100% for them. And then you get notified when they get achievement levels and have gotten to the next level, and you have an opportunity to put a carrot out there for rewards. So when you see these elements down here about compliance, conduct, core values, curriculum, career, and culture, we call these the 6 C's. These 6 C's are basically the foundation of what really brings a highly competent professional team member, whether they be a teacher, whether they be administrator, whether they be a school bus driver. These are the different elements it's very important for them to do. So it's alignment to develop their team's characteristic. It helps build all new and tenured staff to get them to the same level. It also systematizes this. So you as either a director or an owner or an administrator do not have to drive this. It automates the process for them to get developed to a high level, including elements of being sure to meet their basic compliance requirements for your state, your code of conduct, your core values, the curriculum you want them to teach the children or for them to go through. What is their career opportunity? And again, how you've developed that culture. There's voluntary elements in here, but you're able to put in there rewards. Those rewards allow those individuals to do those things in a voluntary, but then they can have increases in pay or additional PTO. You get to set what those rewards are, but that's the carrot part. You say, hey, you come over here and you get to a high level of performance, we're going to give you more. But that aligns with your business so much more than trying to chase people down. We've seen great results where this has dramatically reduced turnover in organizations because people feel like they belong as part of the organization. So we do have a very special giveaway at the very end. So are you ready to possibly be a VIP? We have something that will be announced at the end of this, and I say you hang tight for that because it's a very valuable giveaway too. So we'll talk more about it when we go on. I now would like to introduce and bring on, if she wants to start up her video and her audio, today's special guest, and that is Brandy Woods. And Brandy is not only very charismatic and passionate, she is a force of nature. And she really is someone that when you talk to her, she can have the quietest, just sort of tone of voice, and you just sort of get drawn into her. But in a moment, she can speak to an audience of 500 people and capture and engage them. I've been impressed to listening to her and how she's engaged, how she's motivated, but just also brought people together. So I don't see your audio on, but welcome, Brandy. So
I am here. So Tony, I'm so excited.
Well, I'm very excited to have you. And just to have you as part of us here, we are going to Childcare Millionaire, which is coming up in what, just like for 2-3 weeks?
21 days.
So I'm amazed that we even have your time, because I know how it is to run a conference. Morning, afternoons, evenings, your time is all taken in putting this thing together between you and also your faithful counterpart here, Christina Villa, who also has been helping you out a ton on that. You guys have been putting together what I hear is a wonderful show. It'll be our first year attending. We're so excited. Just give us, before we get into this, just give us a quick overview about what Childcare Millionaire is, and what do you see as sort of you want people to see when they're there, and also what they will walk away with.
So Childcare Millionaires, it's just like sitting on the couch with other owners that can love, support you, also tell you, get off your butt if you're being lazy, but also can really understand some of the joys and some of the obstacles that we have as childcare owners. So we opened this community in 2018. Tony, we didn't know the pandemic was coming. Before the pandemic, we were chilling back, drinking our Cokes, talking about, center life. And then after the pandemic, we were like, oh my God, there's no one coming to save us. We must save ourselves. And so that's when we really start sharing resources, classes, and really solidifying our business during a difficult time. And now that we're on the turn of that, we've just decided to play big, because it's no fun playing small. I'm from Texas. We don't do anything small here. And so we love it. We love it here at Childcare Millionaires, but we really are a family, and you guys are now all of our cousins. So, hey, cousin.
Hey, cuz. So that's awesome. And we're looking forward to it. It is in Houston, and it is a wonderful, easy to get to location. You'll learn a little bit more about it. And if you're interested, put in the chat to us, and we'll make sure to get you connected with Christina and Brandy on that. But with that said, because we only have so much time, I'm going to ask Brandy to share her slides, and then we're going to start a conversation about her topic today. Tell us a little bit about your topic today too, when you start sharing.
So when we talk to the team, I really have been, telling people about pitfalls they need to avoid, because this is the truth, Tony. A lot of us have really, really good habits when it comes to running our business, but we have what we call in church the small foxes. And I don't want to let those small foxes stop us from running a really healthy multi-7-figure empire. And I also really want us as childcare owners, because I'm an owner myself, Tony, you're an owner yourself. So, from the outside, people think, oh, y'all just play with kids. No. Put some respect on our profession. But the only way that we can make people do that, if we actually treat our business like the $60 billion industry it is. So I just wanted to share with my cousins some pitfalls that they can avoid to make sure not only do they run a business that they love, but a business that loves them back.
I love it. I love the idea. Let's get kicked into this, because I think this is some valuable information. And what I love is the opportunities that you can walk away and you will get some things you can start implementing right away. So have at it, Brandy.
Yeah, so guys, this is what I'm going to tell you. I'm a person with a lot of energy, as Tony said. So I'm going to look forward to you really talking to me in the chat. And so tell me if you can think of a pitfall that you fell in before. These are these dark holes in our business that we don't want to talk about. But since we're cousins and we're all in this together, we can be very candid today. But if you've ever had a pitfall or a trap or a loop that you found in your business that could have been risky, let me know in the chat. I want to make sure I'm talking to real owners, because the fake owners, they'll say, oh, everything is great.
Oh,
people.
while we're waiting, I'm going to give you one. Okay.
Okay.
You ready? I'm going to serve you up. So a lot of times we talked about earlier about how you empower your teammates and you hold them accountable, but you empower them. I'm a big believer in empowering. Once in a while, though, and I have multiple schools, you get a director that you empower, and she starts to, or he for the most part, but she starts to move away from part of the team and she starts thinking the school is hers. And the school is about her. It's no longer about her teachers. It's no longer about the owner. It's about her. Have you run into anything like this in the past?
Yeah, I've hired some people that ended up not reflecting my core values, but they quickly disqualify themselves from working for me. We release those people to their destiny to go and ruin other companies. But absolutely. And then there are some times where we can really rein people in, but I'm a stickler for core values and treating people with the utmost respect. But I see some coming in, Tony said, not knowing your numbers, more bills than cash, trying to expand and the door is not open for expansion, not knowing the business side of childcare. Okay, we're talking to real owners here. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Stacy, LaRonda, and Leslie for responding. Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself before I get started. I've been in education for 25 years. I love what I do. We have multiple locations in Houston, but my love is Childcare Millionaires. Now, Imagine Me Academy, that's my husband. Childcare Millionaires, that's my boo. And the reason why is because I really love spending time with other owners just like me, traveling the world. I'm a thrill seeker. So if any of you ever want to go skydiving, bungee jumping, zip lining, anything that we may almost die at, call me. I'll make sure Jesus is on the main line and we'll do it, okay? But I love anything that makes my heart beat, triple time. I'm a mother of 6. Don't judge me. And I'm a grandmother of 3.
Now you're lying.
I am not. I'm not lying.
I know Brandy's a liar. There's no way. You're too young.
This is true. You will meet all of them because they will be working at the conference. And we really love what we do, but we are a family that really works together. How many of you work with your families out there? That can be a pitfall, but we're not going to talk about that pitfall today. But, making your family respect you in a different role is a little different than the Brandy that may be cooking on Sunday. And, it's a little different from the CEO Brandy. But we love what we do. I've been speaking and coaching for a long time, but more than anything, I'm a person of practical application, and I love to share that application with others. So let's get into it. Now, I only have a few minutes, but we're in this together. So we're going to talk about some of the pitfalls. And I'm going to tell you one of the biggest pitfalls, and Tony already alluded to it, is being a boss instead of a leader. How many of you can find yourself in boss mode instead of in leader mode? And my natural inclination for my kids is boss. I don't know why. My inclination for my staff is leader. And I'm not sure if you know the difference, but I'm going to talk about the difference just a little bit. Tony, I would love to know which one you are first, boss or leader. So a boss, a lot of times, is giving direction. They're watching other people work. They're sitting on top of the mission, right? But a leader is often out front, and this leader is rallying the troops. They're leading by example, and they're helping to move the vision forward. Now, this picture was one of the best pictures I found. Actually, one of our coaches, Coach Shannon, used this picture, and I was like, oh my God, even though the people look creepy, this is a really good example of the difference between a leader and a boss, right? A boss, go ye therefore and feed the kids. Go change. Why is the playground not locked? Who didn't lock the door? Who moved my cheese? Why didn't you tell me the paper towels were missing? Boss talk, right? Leader is a little bit different. They're leading by example. Hey guys, let's go ahead and inventory today to make sure we have everything we need. These are our 4 goals for the year. Let's make sure that we're working towards those goals. Oh my God, we made one goal. We got to 90% enrollment. How do you guys want to celebrate, right? The feel of a leader is totally different from the feel of a boss. Has anybody had a bad boss? Oh, Tony, you remember that show, The Office?
Oh yeah.
Oh God, that was historical bad bossing, right? But if you've ever had a bad boss, you literally know things that you don't want to do, but some way we sometimes fall back into that boss mode. And even our music tells us, I'm bossy. You know, I don't really want to be a boss. I do want to be a leader because I want my staff to respect me. And a leader, their heart is positioned different to their kids, to their staff, and to their community, right? And when I think about my heart's position is going to determine how I treat people. My heart position is going to determine how I show up in the community, how I interview, who I give a chance to, how I reprimand. Do I reprimand to discipline or do I reprimand to build capacity? And so one of the pitfalls that we can really fall into is bossing up instead of leadering up. If you're with me, let me know in the chat.
Well, let me add this, Brandy. One of the things that I noticed too is when you think about boss and leader, we oftentimes say, well, I want to be a leader. I want to position myself as leader. Sometimes your staff will try to drive you to be a boss. And what I mean by that is they'll come to you and saying, Brandy, what do you want me to do now? Brandy, what do you want me to do now? And they're asking you just to tell them what to do, sort of like the top one here. And this is where it's so easy to fall in because it's so quick to answer them. Say, I need you just to go wash down the changing tables. I need you to go clean up the, blah, 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 blah. But this is where the investment is, in my 2 cents, is where you listen to them and then you ask them, what do you think we need to do? What? In other words, you answer them with questions.
Yes. And a lot of times if your staff is asking you everything, then you're not spending enough time with them, right? Because it's kind of like my kids. They know if I come home and the kitchen is not clean, I'm not cooking. That's our rule. It's been our rule. We have a 24-year-old. It's been our rule for 24 years. Well, maybe about 15, okay? But when people spend time with you, they know your expectation. And if you are sitting down with SOPs and protocols, they should know the flow of their day, right? And so I would say to you, if you're getting a lot of those questions and people are trying to put you back in a boss mode, go into training mode first, right? And make sure you spend some time really explaining your expectations, reviewing the daily flow, reviewing your SOPs, because a leader is really not only about showing, but it's about also putting processes in place where I can show you once and you can do it many times, right? It's not that I'm in a perpetual position that I always have to be on the floor, putting down a cup of milk or vacuuming the floor with you or changing a kid. No, I put in some time and investment up front to lead and to show you the way and how we treat each other, how we talk, even the pace of our work. I'm a fast-paced worker. I don't work well with slow-moving individuals. So I know that in my interview process, based on how they move and interact with me, but in my training, and we do a 5, 15, 30, 60, 90, 1 year training. Our onboarding is 1 year. Now they're not learning how to function like on the lower level in their job in 1 year, but over the year, we're building capacity where they kind of know, if I have extra time, I'm going to watch the toys. If I have extra time, I'm going to pull homework. If I have extra time, I'm going to get on my app and send parents messages. Or, you know what? We should be doing our portfolios. Assessments are coming up. So the more your staff knows you and your expectations, the less they're going to need you to be in a position of just like, follow me. Come on, let's do it. This is not what we want our staff to do. We don't want to have the bullhorn out every day, letting them know what to do, because really their job should, in a sense, be boring. And what I mean by boring, we all want boring childcare centers. And you're going to be like, Brandy, I don't want a boring center. Yes, you do. You don't want any incidents, accidents, police reports, ambulances, seizures, fights, scratches, bruises, bites. Give me a boring childcare center every day. Well, only thing I have to make sure is I don't burn the nacho cheese. That is the best center in the world.
That's awesome. Love it.
So, Tony, in our leadership skills, you know, I don't believe everybody's a natural born leader. I do believe that leadership skills are developed. Now, you may have some leadership skills. Some people really love to be back of house. These people make great office managers. They make great floaters. And then you have your superstars, right? And they're rallying the troops and they're very charismatic. But either way it goes, leadership skills are really, they're refined over time. So if there are some things you need to work in your leadership, like your mindset or offering other people great opportunities or holding meetings or building, team building, these are the things that you can build within Inspire 360. It looks like they have a wonderful program to really help you build some of those skills, because I'm a great leader, probably because I read 100 books, probably because I self-invest, probably because I'm a lifetime learner, and probably because I will admit when I'm wrong, right? I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong. And these things make me a better leader, because then now I'm empathetic, because I know I'm not perfect, I'm only perfecting. So a really great leader does recognize that their staff is perfecting and they're not perfect. So,
yeah, and it definitely demonstrates integrity, which is really a big piece of leadership. So
yes.
you're demonstrating it every day with that.
Yeah. And so this is a great quote to mention what you said. Like, the measure of a good leader is know how well your team functions without you. If they need you every day, I'm honest, guys. If they don't know your schedule when you have office hours, I have an open door, but the door ain't open 12 hours a day, okay? We can chit chat, but not all day, because you won't get paid. I won't do grant compliance. We'll be out here riding dirty. So, good question, Nicole. Ask yourself, can your team function without you? And if so, for how long? One of the best books I ever read in my life, Tony, was Clockwork. Have you read it?
I haven't. Tell me about it.
Oh my God. Clockwork is a book, and I have it here. Clockwork is a book, and we've had Mike's co-author come and train in our program that really teaches you how to build capacity in your staff, where you could walk away for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and optimally 6 weeks without them picking up a phone or sending you an email.
That's awesome.
Can you imagine? But the point of Clockwork is creating other leaders within your organization. So this is one of the books I would suggest you get if you're looking at really building your leadership, learning how to delegate, and having that company where it can work without you. Even though it needs you, it can work without you.
So that's a great book. I'm definitely going to pick up that book. Have you ever read The E-Myth Revisited?
Yes.
Yes. She's going for it. That's a great book, because as they say is, do you really want to be the person behind the counter wearing the funny hat, or do you want to be the person working on the business? And that's a really good book, probably like this Clockwork's, about how to develop leadership and not just sitting in it as a manager.
Yeah, and what I love about E-Myth is how he studied all of these franchises, and he really tells a story how McDonald's really dropped the ball, right? The original founders. So guys, when you hear people say work on your business, not just in your business, that is an E-Myth concept. So yeah, grab 2 great books for summer read, Clockwork and E-Myth. Okay. So guys, let's work on our qualities as a leader. You can take a screen shot of this. We're not going to go through each of these, but just not falling in the trap of bossing up. Make sure every turn that you're being a leader, right? And leaders create other leaders. If you don't have a duplication of yourself, you're probably bossing. These are some ways to check the temperature. If your staff is continually asking you questions, you're probably bossing, because I'm scared to disappoint my boss. I'm not scared to ask my leader for help or build capacity, right? And so people will ask you when they don't feel like they have enough space to make decisions. So please grab these books, take this screenshot.
So
these are some questions you can ask about pitfall one, and I know I got to go on. But as a leader, begin to ask you and yourself, what areas do we need to improve so we can work more efficiently? What strategies or systems do I maybe need to update or revise? I don't allow my employees to text me. We use an app called Connect Team. 2 reasons. When they leave me, I can take away their access and they have no messages that I've ever sent them. That's legal bossness, right? I can be a boss in that area. But how you give the schedule, how you pay, all of those things. And then what changes with staff needs to happen. As time changes, your position as a leader or who you need on your team may also change. All right. You ready for number 2, Tony?
There you go. Ready to go. Lack of vision. This is not me, but go for it.
All right. Lack of vision. Most people think vision is what you see. That's sight, right? Vision is you foreseeing where your company will be in the next 3, 5, even 10 years, and operating with the excellence and enthusiasm to get you there, right? So if I operate, I saw Leslie was on here. She has 1 center, but she desires to have another one. She has to operate now through vision like she has 2 centers, right? So I'm preparing my staff. I'm preparing myself. So vision is not about sight. Sight is what you see. Vision is what you aspire to see, right? So drop the vision, right? What is your vision for your center? Because your vision will make you operate totally different. Did you know I'm like a real estate junkie, Tony?
No, I did not know. I did not, but
Okay.
I'm not surprised, but I did not know.
I'm a real estate junkie, and I'm gonna tell you how long I've been a real estate junkie, y'all. Now, don't laugh at me. Do y'all remember Carlton Sheets? In the 90s, he sold these binders. It had cassette tapes, and it had not even CDs, cassette tapes about how to invest in real estate. I bought this thing.
Late night stuff on TV?
Yes, late night when you were coming from the club, he would be on there. And he would be walking around all these properties. Anyway, I decided when I was 19, this is literally 27 years later, I said, I'm going to be a real estate guru, right? That was my vision. Had no money, didn't own a piece of land. Now we have an impressive real estate portfolio, but it was a vision. And every job I worked on, every business I opened, I always said, because this is going to give me the money to invest in real estate, right? That's the kind of forethought you need to have in your business. Like, not what you're working on for today, that's sight, but the strategies, the execution, and the successes that you need to have to be the you that you want to be in 10 years, the 10-year you, right? That's vision. Don't let people's sight of you stop you from getting to the vision of you, because they're going to want you to be Nicole, old Galen, OD. They're going to want you to be Simone from back in the day, right? You're people that will come and work for you, and they won't want me to be Miss Woods. They want me to be, hey, Brand. No, here I'm Miss Woods, because I need to walk in my vision. And so one of the things that I noticed, one of the pitfalls that owners make, they really work for today and they live in today. Yeah, work for today, but you got to live in tomorrow, because you have to be leading your team to the next better things, right?
Brandy, let me ask you, when it comes to vision, a lot of times leaders will develop vision in their mind, yet they don't sometimes do a great job of communicating it. How do you believe is a good way to communicate your vision? Because without communicating it, people cannot see where you're trying to go.
Yeah, and so it shouldn't be a secret. Like your goals for the business, we share our goals. Now, I don't share money goals with staff, but I share student goals, which equate to money goals. Some people can't handle money and prosperity. Like, that catches them up, right? I can handle it. If you want to talk to me about money, let's talk all day. But I think it's putting those goals and expectations for your center up front. If you're in my program, your top 4 goals better be in the wall in your office, and it better be where your teachers can see it, because it's not like a secret. You should also be aligning your activities with your goals. So if my goal is to get up to 100 students, then I need to have daily activities and weekly KPIs that I'm checking on, like, hey, how many tours did you guys do? How many calls did you get? Did we lose any students? Why did we lose those students, right? And then another way that you can be really clear about your goals and your vision is celebrate and reward people for helping you get there. So what does that mean? If you have a vision of having highly qualified teachers, and say your state is a CDA state, they recognize the CDA. Every time somebody gets a CDA, you celebrate them. I'm talking about bringing out the fajitas and margaritas, and you are like, oh my God, that's what you get bonuses for, right? Bringing you to that quality where, above 75% of your staff are highly qualified. Those are the things you celebrate. Y'all reach your attendance. Oh my God. Do y'all know we are 3 students away? Everybody's on the phone. Y'all, we 3 students away. When we get these 3 students, Miss Woods is going to take us to the Brazilian steakhouse because Miss Woods likes to eat, and we just do things. So put your money and your energy where your vision is. A lot of us put our money and our energy where our deficits are. And it's just like kids, energy is energy. And so if you put all your energy here, you have this self-fulfilling situation where you're going to duplicate wherever it is you're spending your energy. So I spend my energy on vision, right? And I do spend time making sure my day-to-day is good, but my energy, my impact, my recognition is always spent on vision, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yay. If you guys are loving this, let us know in the chat. And I would like to also know, what is one of the goals or visions that you have for your school right now? You can just give me one. So without vision, your business will begin to plummet because you're focusing on the status quo. But with vision, your business will grow because you're focusing on the future version of you and what you have to offer. Oh, they say they love it. Drop those visions. So this is how you'll kind of know that maybe everyone doesn't know the vision, or you're not bringing everybody along with the vision. If activities, attitudes are misaligned with the mission, if you have a lot of unfinished tasks, that means they don't understand the importance of it. If you're not tapping into resources or taking time to foster those relationships, right? If you don't even have any measure of success, like in my team meetings, Tony, I know you probably do this. Do you say, what's your student count? How many tours did you do? Do you go over that information?
We definitely go over some of that information because it's some of the basic blocking and tackling.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And then you probably, you're going to ask questions like, okay, on this goal, we have these 4 people in CDA. What's their progress, right? Or if one of your big goals is community involvement, what's our next involvement? Who's on that committee, right? Focusing on those things that's going to move the needle and improve your culture. When you have vision, it kills mediocrity, right? Without vision, people don't have anything to aspire to, because they should all be proficient. We don't want you to be proficient. We want you to be excellent.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Going to number 3. Poor communication. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a communicator are you? Let me know in the chat. Oh, these are some good goals. Set up my school. I know y'all all remember this song. New Edition, Mr. Telephone Man, there's something wrong with my line, right? Literally.
Love it.
Your staff can feel like that, like, hey, I don't know what my owner expects. There got to be something wrong. Or you're like, I don't know why my staff is not understanding me. I'm repeating myself over and over. The communication gap. If what you're saying is not translating in what they're doing, there's a communication gap. How many of you feel like you may have a communication gap? Put yes in the chat. Like, sometimes, I can say we have a communication gap. Sometimes my staff is really on it and we're really good. But one of the things about communication, if you do it often and you build relationships, you can have difficult conversations as well as good conversations. And so I had a starter marriage, guys. And one of our problems was communication. It seemed like neither one of us heard what the other one was saying, right? Starter marriage problems. Now, in my real marriage, we've conquered this, but it's the same thing in any relationship. If people are not hearing what you're saying and it doesn't translate into activity, you may have a communication gap. So this is one of the reasons why, in coaching, hundreds and thousands of people, I probably visited over 500 centers in the last 10 years. This is one of the things I find out that people don't do. They don't address things as soon as possible. They wait until important things become urgent because maybe they didn't want to offend someone. Maybe they just thought it was going to get better. Well, that's not science. Physics says everything tends to chaos, not to order. That is a law of physics, right? So anything I hate to use the word confront, it's so strong, right? But anything I don't speak about or I don't address will become bigger. It won't become smaller, right? So if someone is late twice in a week, the next week they're going to be late 3 times. And then it's going to become a time where they're late every single day, right? Because when they were late that one time doing staff training, we didn't confront it. So make sure that you try to confront things, address them as soon as possible, and come up with a resolution. If you don't address things, a lot of times the problem will escalate. They won't even know how important what's happening is to you. They possibly, will lose motivation to do the right thing because they're not called to the carpet. And then these kind of problems can be traced back to the leader's lack of addressing the issue. The other communication we may have is lack of feedback. And this can be positive or negative. I don't want you to think feedback is always negative, but this is positive feedback. Oh my God, your room is in such great condition. I love seeing the artifacts of the kids learning. Every picture is on the wall. This is just a great class. Can I bring a few teachers by just to look through it? And because you did a good job, Starbucks on me tomorrow. That's also feedback, right? So you want to give a good mix of positive and negative feedback.
Awesome. Let me ask you, Brandy, when you have people who you're trying to communicate to, they're good teammates, there's someone you don't want to let go with, but they either don't process your communication well, they don't hear the message well. How do you tend to try to break through to someone like that? You want to invest in them, you don't want to exit them. So what are some of the techniques you use to get that connection?
Yeah, so they have the right attitude, and I feel like they are an example of our core values, but we just need to build capacity. I may buddy them up with a mentor, and we have lead teachers on our campuses. Maybe they do better with like peer relationships instead of like our HR kind of relationships. Another thing that I find that if I'm working with a person to build capacity, they may need a 15 to 20 minute one-on-one every week to talk about their targets and their progress. That way you can say, oh my God, you're doing better in this area. Next week, let's really work on this area instead of it being so much time in between those conversations.
Yeah. And you know what? I think you hit on things that are really important. It's finding out too, because everybody tends to have different learning styles themselves. Some people are very audible. Some people are very visual. Some people need that one-on-one time. And if they're even in a group and you're not one-on-one with them, they just don't connect the way. So identifying that for your teammates, I think is critical.
Yeah, it really is. And that's I don't lead in sympathy, but I do lead in empathy. And I'm a capacity builder. And one of the reasons why, Tony, and all my other CEO cousins, is your organization only grows if the individual people in your organization grow. It will look crazy if you were a bobblehead and you could contain all of this, but your legs were the size of a toothpick, right? And so we have to grow people with us so they can help us move the vision. Because if we are, big-minded, but our legs and our hands, which are our employees, are not an extension of our big mind, then we have problems. And then we also, Tony, unfortunately, I don't see this as much as I want. We have weak-brained people in our organization. I didn't say they weren't smart, but we don't allow people to be thinkers, right? We don't allow them to create. A lot of times as leaders, we're giving, but letting them be involved in the creation process also gives them great buy-in, and it increases their capacity.
Yeah, and I love that, because when you talk about buy-in, when people are just told what they need to do, they feel like they're just a worker. When they are part of the solution, they're part of the leadership. They're part of getting it done. They're part of you, where you don't have to be there every day. Awesome.
Unfortunately, I haven't been there one day this week, but I'm going to get there. But this is so true. People,
conference coming. I don't know about that. So
they want to be a part of something, and they want to know that you're human, right? So how can there be improvement without feedback? It won't happen. It's just like in a romantic relationship or a relationship with your children. You're constantly talking to them. You're pouring into them. You're building where they understand you and you understand them. So that's a big misconception, right? And then I would just say to try to be proactive as possible, because reactive communication, you may be a little upset, right? And my worst time to communicate, hey, Priscilla, my worst time to communicate, if I'm Brandy from the block, this is why I'm hot, Brandy. Let me upgrade you, Brandy. I'm the best you ever had, Brandy. Don't play with me, Brandy. She should not talk to people. She's dangerous. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I know you can say it, but you're telling the truth though, too.
We want to talk to CEO Brandy, the leader Brandy. Like, I had a new cook, Tony. You know how expensive eggs is, right? For your breakfasts, guys, you cook like 2 components. There may be like a biscuit and a fruit, a cereal. New cook. She cooked literally 10 dozen of eggs. 10 dozen. We had just got, I'm like, man, we can't even serve 10 dozen of eggs. 10 dozen of eggs, biscuits, bacon, and she gave the kids fruit. Right. Now we're up to 4 components and milk. But I literally wanted to say, lady, you owe me like $300. But I was like, but why did she do that? It had to be a training failure. And she said, well, I wanted the kids to really be happy about my first day. Girl, listen, do you know how expensive eggs are? So I did not react in that moment. I said, you know what? This was really a big showing of your love. And I'm so happy. But a little later today, we're going to go over the components of breakfast. But, thank you for really showing out on your first day. I'm sure the kids loved it. In my mind, that was not my response. But I've learned not to be reactive. I've learned, to really train up front. This was a few years ago. So just in your communication, guys, remember to be fair, be honest. I don't know why my slides are doing that. Be mindful, be assertive, right? And I'm gonna say be friendly, but you don't have to be friends with your staff, because you don't want to lose credibility or they don't respect you for being the leader. I've seen some people cross over on this, and then when I have to give leader communication, be friendly, but be conservative with your personal information. Everybody can't handle it.
Good advice.
Last pitfall, and it's a really short one, is pouring from an empty cup. If you are not full, if you're not don't have energy, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not your best you can't, get the best out of them. So you don't want to look in your cup and it's empty. If you're running on fumes, what do you have to share? So one of my things I really encourage all owners to do, build capacity in your staff where at least you can leave out middle of the day, take lunch, go to conferences, have support groups. You cannot run on empty. You cannot work 12 hours a day for the perpetuity of your business. So these are the things I like to do, stay connected to communities and people that support me. Childcare Millionaires has been that for me. We just went on a cruise together. We've been to, Miami together. I rented out a yacht, but I also have time with my church family, my own family, my girlfriends, and even myself. Set boundaries. Let people know how to treat you, right? And you do this by how you teach people how to treat you. Like, hey, during this time from 10 to 12, it's my work hours. If it's not an emergency, this is the person on the floor that you can talk to. Focus on personal development. Me and Tony were kind of talking about the books we've read, but books, seminars, workshop, quiet time, massages. I don't know about the soft life. I'm not there yet, but I do live a softer life on some days. And so you want to make sure that you can give, from a full cup, from your overflow. So that's all I have, but we do have some time for questions.
And absolutely wonderful content. I really appreciate it. And definitely in the chat, if you do have some questions for Brandy, let's bring them on up. If we have a little bit of time left here, we've just got about 2 or 3 minutes. But Brandy, tell me one of these things. When you started to become a leader and develop to the leader you are, what would you say was probably some of the biggest mental hurdles for yourself in becoming a leader?
I think my biggest hurdle was I didn't want to leave anybody behind, because I grew up in a real tight community and a real big family. And I was like, oh my God, if I grow, they're going to think I've changed. And then I was like, I can't help anybody unless I change. And so I think that was my big hurdle as a community. And as a family, we started my centers with just me and my mom. My aunt, who was a principal, was my first, kind of part-time person. And the lady I hired for my first full-time employee is still with me. But as I grew and becoming successful and I became wealthy, I felt like bad, like I'm leaving people behind, and I had to realize I'm not leaving them behind. I'm actually creating a path to success. And that really helped me kind of get over that.
That's awesome. I think it's really good to see how leaders develop and what are the things that either got in their way or the hurdles that they actually developed to really become the person they are today. So Brandy, I want to thank you so much. I've just got 1 or 2 little slides here. I can't wait to see you next month. Do you have anything else you wanted to hit on?
Just really, really quick. We have a free summer camp summit this weekend. If you haven't done your summer camp, you need to be there. Tony's going to be talking at the Summer Camp Summit. It's free, FREE free. And the link is childcaresummit.com. We have a lot of resources, a lot of indoor field trip vendors that you can use. It's a really good time. It's Friday and Saturday. It's free. And the link is childcareevents.com. And I think Tony's going to tell you a little bit more about the conference.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was going to do. I was right about to share that the conference is on its way. You'll notice some people that you may have known from the past, some other people that you do not know, and you would love to get to know. Great event for that. I'm so excited that I was invited to come here and speak. In addition, we're going to have a booth there, and Jen and Jessica from our team will be there too. But I'm really excited. It was actually Scott, who's a picture right here, who said, you got to go to this show. These people are awesome. They've got their act together, and they really are very much into absorbing all kinds of ideas. So this is great. We have a giveaway, which we did promise. The special giveaway is for those of you who have attended, we do have a raffle. And well, I shouldn't say a raffle. two of you guys who have participated, and thank you very much, will get VIP tickets. What's the value of a VIP ticket?
$9.99.
Wow.
$999. Yes.
That's amazing. So we will be notifying you within the next 24 hours if you are the lucky winner. And we want to make sure to know that your time today, hopefully, I know it might have been just for the tickets, but I think it was really for Brandy. I think that's why you really came. And so it was wonderful to have you, Brandy. Again, just as a reminder, we do certificates. We have an upcoming webinar too with Kim Palmieri's. She's going to be coming up and she's going to talk about, she went something similar. You know, I don't know, Brandy, do you know Kim? Kim is amazing.
Yes.
She is amazing. And Kim has succeeded out of her organization. But what I love about what happened with Kim, her story is she had a school that was failing. And then she decided to turn her way around, her life around, turn the way she looked at it. And she probably developed one of the most successful schools because of what she did and she did for developing her team. So it is coming on May 16th. So it is coming right around the time of your event coming up. And so be checking in that in the registry. You'll see that link coming out to you folks there too. So I want to thank you so much, Brandy, for joining us today. We've run out of our time, but I get to see you within a month and I will be talking to you on Friday in your group. So I'm really excited for that. So if you want to learn more about Inspire Care 360, you guys see all the information here. And I'm sure Sarah has put it in the chat. So Brandy, from Inspire Care 360 and us, we'll be talking to everybody real soon. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day, everybody.
Have a
Take
beautiful
care.
day.